Dear students, today I am going to discuss about database application development. So still now you know how to use, how to create the database, how to create tables and attributes, constraints, how to give, then different types of constraints we have seen. Along with that implicit and explicit constraints, we have seen the application based constraint like assertions, triggers, and how to create the virtual table and so on. So now we are going to see how to develop the database application. Okay, so then in this we are going to see the different concepts over here. So what is the SQL in application code, how to write it, then what is meant by embedded SQL, what is the purpose of cursors and dynamic SQL, then what is the difference between those, and what is the need for JDBC, ODBC connectivity, what is SQL and stored procedures. First, justification for access to database via programming languages. Still now we know, suppose for example, either we are using SQL or Oracle or SQL Server or MySQL, anything else, we can create the table. Only using the database, database management system, we can create the table, we can store the values. But how to access the database through the application program with the help of any application program like C program or Java program, how to access it. So that we are going to use is SQL is a direct query language. It has some limitations. SQL. What are the limitations means? So complex computational processing of the data is not possible. Only queries we can give, any complex operations we want to do it is not possible. Using functions or procedures, writing the detailed code, that and all is not possible. So specialized user interfaces, access to more than one database at a time. Suppose we want to access the data from more than one database, not more than one table. More than one table it is possible using command. But when we want to access the data from more than one database, it is not possible at the database level. So for that, what we are going to do, it means SQL commands can be called from within a host language program. So now we are going to use both front end and back end. So here we are having that host language, any one of the language, application language, we are going to use it, either C or C++ or Java, any programming language. So SQL statements can refer to host variables. SQL statements we are going to call as a host variables, that will be taken as a data sub-language. Okay, that is, then next that will be that will be defined, and another thing we are going to use application programming language. So both should be connected. That should be connected through the connect statement. Okay, so here the problem is, so impedance mismatch is the main problem we are going to face when we are using the application in development, that is front end and back end tool. Here what is the problem means set of records. In SQL, we can retrieve the multiple records at a time. Suppose for example, we'll give the query as select star from the student, means all the student details should be retrieved at a time. But that is not possible in the programming language. No such data structure is available in such programming languages. So how to do that operation means, so that is the problem on problem. Multi sets of records with no priori bound on the number of records. That data structure is not available. And that not to solve this problem, another thing is some of the data types which is available in SQL. For example, date data type is available in SQL, that is not there in programming language. That is a data mismatch. So these are the problems we are going to face. The first problem, what I told, no, not to retrieve the multiple records. So for that we are going to use cursors over here in application programming development. So the desired features of such systems are, if you use that front end and back end tools, application program development, so easy to use, conformance to students for existing programming languages, database query language and development environments. Both they will be thorough, and interoperability, the ability to use a common interface to diverse database systems on different operating systems, that is possible. Okay, nowadays. And first now we'll see the embedded SQL. From the name itself it is the embedded SQL. So embedded SQL means SQL is a structured query language, along with that some programming language is embedded. Either it may be C or Java or C++, anything. So embed SQL in the host language. Okay, SQL should be embedded in the host language, that may be any programming language. So a preprocessor converts the SQL statement into special application programming interface calls. Okay, that will be there. So then a regular compiler is used to compile the code. So here we will be having, already we have seen the database environment diagram. So application query. Here it will be having both SQL query and the application program code, host language code. That's using pre-compiler, it will be separated together. Then the SQL query should be compiled with the help of SQL compiler, DDL compiler, and that application program host language data should be compiled with the help of host language compiler. Suppose C means C compiler or C++ compiler, and so on. Then it will be compiled together. So embedded SQL, what are the language constructs needed means, first one we have to give connecting to a database, we have to give the command execute SQL connect. This is a keyword we have to use it. For declaring the variables we should give execute SQL begin, and we have to give the data between that and declare section. Here we are going to declare all the variables. And then statements, then how we can give means execute SQL, but the statement we are going to specify, that we can give under with the semicolon. So for example, execute SQL begin declare section. This is a declaration section. We have declared all the variables. Then execute SQL. Then begin means the end should be there, and declare section. The declare section is end. So like this we have to declare the variables. For this use colon. Okay. The two special error variables are SQL code, SQL state. The two error codes should be used, error variables should be used. So SQL code is negative if an error has occurred. It will be is a long data type. If it is negative means, if negative means, when that it will be negative means if an error has occurred. Then SQL state. Okay, this is actually fixed 6 characters. So predefined codes for common errors. For each error some predefined 6-digit code will be there, character code. Okay, using that we can find out which error has occurred. Okay, so these are the two special error variables to be used, SQL code and SQL state. So before seeing cursors, you should thorough in that embedded SQL. So in the embedded SQL, what is the main, here we are going to combine both host language and data sub-language commands together in order to combine the advantages of SQL language as well as the programming language. Okay, here the main problem is impedance mismatch. Impedance mismatch means in the sense data type mismatch will be there. For example, the data type is present in SQL but that is not there in our programming languages. Another thing is in database with a single command we can retrieve the multiple records using select star from table, but in database application programming language we didn't have that facility. So in order to perform that operation we are going to use cursors. So using cursors we can retrieve the multiple data sets the multiple records at a time. Okay, so now next class we are going to discuss about cursors. So now I think all you people understood this embedded SQL. This part, especially this third module, what are the things you are studying, that everything you are going to implement in your mini project. Okay, so please be strong in this thing, practical things. So when you are doing your project, you are going to realize all those things, how we have applied these concepts. Thank you.